We have one of the largest asset managers on planet Earth, worth trillions, not billions, trillions of dollars of assets under management. They're aping into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. They're fighting the haters.
Damn!
I just want to show off my cool axe. This thing's nice, man. Home defense or Bitcoin defense, whatever you want to, or traditional finance stock market. I don't know, but I will tell you that although Bitcoin has been moving a little bit downward, I am still bullish. Nothing has changed for me. And this is why you guys come here. So I can kind of lay out the plan. Now, again, that doesn't get me wrong. I'm not delusional. I'm looking at the negatives as well. I'm looking at what could potentially go wrong. But for my investment thesis, nothing has changed. You know, even though we have all this FUD and everybody's crazy, scared, nothing has changed for me. As you can see here, the nation of Panama has officially passed a bill to give legal status to Bitcoin as well as eliminate all capital gains. If that doesn't sound bullish, we see the snowball effect of countries moving into Bitcoin. And this is a great visualization. As you can see, we're slowly painting the world orange. And I think my voice just cracked, but it's okay because it shows you the passion that I have for this asset class. As you can see, the world will be soon all orange. And I don't know if that's a good thing, but I thought this was a cool visualization. It shows you how early we are in crypto. We are so early. Don't get sidetracked. Also, I thought this was very interesting. Wow, no wonder big banks fight us hard. This is an excerpt from the comment letter to the Fed by Wise. Okay, so as you can see here, as Wise indicated in our previous letter, the status quo presents significant competition and risk issues. Two banks originate nearly 50% of all ACH transactions in the US, and it's these same two banks that originate payments for large payment companies, adding a single point of failure risk to the system. Further, in the US, the direct cost of Fed ACH origination is only 35 cents or less, but banks may charge other financial institutions as much as 35 cents or more for origination services, a potential markup of 100x, and users ultimately absorb these costs. So basically, you know, we have all these great apps. We have all this great decentralized finance, PulseX, Hex, all these things all over the internet, all over Web3. And it's great and all. And there's all these promises and all this new innovation, right? But the point is that there's a huge problem, which is payment remittances and cross-border transaction of money. People with a lot of money, when they transfer to other sides of the world, they're paying 100x markup, a potential 100x markup with centralized banks. And 50% of all ACH transactions are just two banks in the United States. Of course they're scared. Of course they're fighting. With Bitcoin, it can be much cheaper, much faster, and there is no counterparty risk. Say it with me. There is no counterparty risk. So I don't know which way you want me to cut it. I said that in the last video. People were laughing about that. But Bitcoin just looks superior. And even if we keep it super simple, forget all Web3, forget all DeFi, forget all everything, Bitcoin will still get adopted because it's a superior form of money. If we look at on-chain, you can see the 1-year HODL wave. Almost 65% of all Bitcoin has not moved in over a year. This is bullish. So as you can see here, there's no Bitcoin moving. People are staying, strong. And this is from on-chain. So there are futures markets. There's other things where people are selling. There is downside sales pressure. The macro environment, risk on assets are a little bit scary. I've been talking about this in my recent videos. The last video was extremely insightful. It was about 45 minutes where I dove really deep into these concepts. So if you don't understand what I'm saying here, basically the whole macro environment is scared because the Federal Reserve is coming in with hawkish Fed policy. They're coming in with the tightening of spending. They don't want to spend as much. There's not as much money printing because inflation is getting out of control. And this is causing the whole market to become kind of bearish. Not just Bitcoin, but any risk on asset is getting a little bit bearish. So I do want to explain that that's kind of the sentiment right now. Now in my head, although Bitcoin has been following the S&P 500 by price, I think it has the best potential to break away from risk on assets in general and become kind of like a safe haven for a lot of people. Even though it hasn't proved, I think it has the best chance. And that's basically the reason why it was made. Now, if we look at exchange and net position change, I specifically have been talking about this over and over again. I could have showed you on Glassnode, but somebody did it here for me on Twitter. And you could see that there is a lot of Bitcoin coming off of centralized exchanges. There's a lot of Bitcoin coming off of centralized exchanges. And as you can see, when there's a lot coming off, there's supply shocks and the price of Bitcoin tends to go up. I don't know what you want me to tell you, but this looks good. I don't know which way you want me to cut it. I'm just joking, but seriously, there's a lot of Bitcoin coming off the exchange. I said that in like 4 different ways. And to me, that's bullish. And it's just like this really like everything's like pushing Bitcoin to supply shock, basically, is what I've been seeing with on-chain. And eventually people are going to FOMO in. I think for real, maybe we might come back down a little bit. We will be talking about price in this video, specific price points. I will go back to my, last predictions of what I made for Bitcoin and, try to look at it again. That's what I plan on doing in this video. But again, like all of the qualitative and quantitative elements of Bitcoin specifically, if you look in the world of Bitcoin, it looks really bullish. If we look at macro conditions, it looks really bearish. That's just the way it is right now. But I think Bitcoin can break away for sure. If we look at entity adjusted SOPR or SOPR, the 30-day exponential moving average, you can see that there's a couple of zones. We have no capitulation zones. Basically, people are not selling as much. We have healthy consolidation, and then we have full capitulation. So as you can see, we're kind of like in a healthy consolidation zone if you look at just Bitcoin. Obviously, again, it's not taking into consideration the macro environment, but I do think it's interesting to look at on-chain metrics, this new data class that we've never had before. Now, Amazon earnings came out, and this is basically all the rave, but yeah, Amazon's dumping, and it's been dumping for a while. It's not just earnings, but it's been dumping for a long time. We see the same thing with Facebook. We see the same thing with Netflix. There's insecurities in traditional finance, risk on assets, tech companies, et cetera, et cetera. The story is playing out, to be honest. The story is continuing that way. Now, this was a really good point made by Income Sharks. This guy actually called the top over here, the real top, in 2021, not the other one over here. And he's saying basically, it could play out very similar to this right here. We have a similar kind of like V bottom that we're seeing here. And then, yeah, it's sideways kind of not sideways, but a little bit up consolidation. We're still making higher lows, higher highs, guys. Like, and I will show you what I mean by that. But we have this sideways kind of consolidation, and then we will get the breakout eventually. So he's basically claiming that, yeah, we might get this breakout. So he's getting bullish, and I think this was really interesting to kind of show people. Now, if we look at Bitcoin versus US dollar, this is basically the gist. I mean, I told you guys specifically there was 2 levels I was looking at. So if you drew it by candlesticks, this was like kind of the first level. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm always optimistic about crypto, and that's my bias. So you guys know that. Like, I'm always going to be optimistic. There's no way I can control it. I try to control it. But you guys know I'm going to be biased. So I said even around here was a good buying point. Okay. I personally have not purchased yet. If you want all of my purchase decisions and what I do, what my coaches do, and how we're able to consistently make money and do this full time, we have a $5 trial. The link will be in the description below. Also, Marty and Johnny are reaching out to people. So if you sign up for the $5 trial and then you ask them for a discount, I'm sure they'll probably accommodate you for the full year payment, because it can be expensive. But over here, okay, I haven't made a buy call yet, but if we do come down here, I will likely make a buy call on some altcoins, maybe Ethereum. Looks really good. Now, we look at Bitcoin to track the price of the market, not the price, the momentum of the market, where the market's going. But I don't like holding Bitcoin because the percentages are not that good, in my opinion. I can't really live off of it. When you guys are, trying to live off of cryptocurrency and trading and investing and stuff like that, you need to hit big and take profits like you just do. Bitcoin's not going to get me there. So, the way I've been able to consistently do this for 6 years without getting a job or doing anything and make my first million was investing in altcoins, things with higher upside potential. And there's a lot of altcoins on my radar. We also have a research list in the fundamental secrets with the $5 trial below in the pinned comment that shows you all the altcoins we're very interested in. So as soon as the market direction goes up, then boom, 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 I invest in these altcoins. And then, some of them will lose, some of them will win. And then we use our risk management strategies. And typically this is how we've been able to make money over time consistently. So if we come over here again, I just want to be very clear with everybody. So you understand I'm attacking it from three different ways. And, I'm telling you before it happens, because that's where the money's at, right? Like, as it's happening, it's gonna be hard for you to react. There's some people that watch my videos 2 days after I post it. So to keep it relevant is what I'm saying. Look, right here might be a good buying opportunity. Personally, I'll wait for it to come down. There's some coaches in my group that are calling it to probably come down a little bit more. But I'm comfortable with buying around $37,000 Bitcoin, and I'm buying specifically altcoins. So we could get this pullback here. But remember, like, just don't take your eyes off the prize. Since January of 2020, since the beginning of the year, although we had this dump in 2021, like everybody's calling it, 2022 a horrible year for everything. And it's like, not really. The dump started in November, December. Since the beginning of the year, we have, the bottom here, V-shaped recovery. Then we have a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher high, higher high. So the market's been moving up since the beginning of the year. Like, I don't know how many ways you want to cut it. I think it's because people look a little bit too short term. But like, we could even zoom out a little bit, right? We could even zoom out. Let's look at the weekly, right? Let's look at the logarithmic growth chart. And then I want to like just kind of zoom out because everybody's so, everybody's so like short-sighted. I mean, if that doesn't look good to you, I don't know what else does, but this looks just like a sideways consolidation, prepping for a breakout. And even if we come down, I don't think it's going to be that much. Like, how much more can we come down? Like, that's why I keep trying to explain to people is like the most we could probably come down is to local lows at 30K. So like right around here, boom. So we'll have a 25% decrease. That's cool. I mean, crypto is extremely volatile. I think a lot of you understand that being in this market, it's volatile. And that's expected that you'll have to wait long periods of time to see your profit. So you could probably hold on to that. Like that's what I'm doing. And I'm confident in that. And if we come down more, I mean, I really do doubt that we'll come down to a previous all-time high at 20K. So, but like worst case scenario, let's say we do, that's only a 40%. I mean, that's a lot, right? I'm not going to say only, it's a lot. But like, again, like if we come to Amazon, right? I mean, since what 2021, or let's start at 2022. Cause I'm talking specifically the last year, right? 2022 is down 16%. And this is supposed to be considered safe, right? If we look at Netflix, so like, again, Bitcoin looks bad, but it looks the least bad is what I'm trying to explain to you. If we go to the beginning of 2022, I mean, this thing is down even more than Bitcoin. Netflix look horrible. Facebook, like these are supposed to be considered safe, guys. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you, but what has the best chance of rising back? I think it's Bitcoin. No matter which way you cut it, I think it's Bitcoin. You look at Facebook. Facebook looks really bad. Now, the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, we are in like kind of hyperinflation. You can't call it hyperinflation, but the inflation is getting a little bit out of hand. And the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, in my personal opinion, is not the accurate representation of inflation. If you look at what Dollar Tree did, Dollar Tree basically changed their policy from charging things for $1 to charging it to $1.25. So if you look at what they did, they adjusted for inflation at 25%. So they're charging 25% more to adjust for inflation. And that kind of gives you that indication. It's like, CPI is coming in at 8.5% or whatever, but like it's a kind of BS measure. It doesn't even take into consideration housing prices, which have been obviously, a kind of big bubble that the bubble's been popping in recent history. So, these things like the way they calculate it, it's funny because like they make it look really good, like the best it can possibly look. They make inflation look so good, but it's still bad. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. CPI is getting out of hand, right? And I don't know, like if like just hawkish Fed policy is going to solve that problem. I think it's way worse than 8.5%. I think inflation's way worse, but they're hiding it. Now, if we look at the effective federal funds rate, which is basically the rate hike, so them, making the cost of borrowing money way more expensive, or hawkish Fed policy, right? If we look at this, I mean, even when they were hawkish in the past, Bitcoin went up 5,844%. So I don't know which way you want to cut it. So they went dovish, right? So they started printing a whole bunch more in 2020. And then Bitcoin went up in price. So yeah, I don't know, hawkish and dovish, Bitcoin goes up in price. We can call Bitcoin a risk on asset. I'm okay with it. Like everybody's like, oh, it's risk on, it's following, risk assets. That's fine. I'm okay with it. But again, if we look at hawkish Fed policy, I don't know how I don't know why. I think it's because I make my own decisions for sure. And other people typically follow others, but I'm making my own decision here. Like I'm kind of going against the grain by saying, look, hawkish Fed policy, Bitcoin goes up in price. What do you want me to tell you? I'm looking at in recent history since 2016, hawkish Fed policy increases. This is increasing Rate hikes, the same thing we're currently going through right now. Rate hikes, the same thing we're currently going through. Bitcoin went up 5,844%. So like, I don't know which way you want me to cut it. I keep saying that, but it's like ridiculous. The macro is not really scaring me at all. And then exactly what I've been trying to say over and over again, the US dollar currency index, right, which is the power of the dollar, the value of the dollar, we rejected off this local top here since 2016. Again, I showed you guys the chart. When this comes down, if the DXY starts to come down, if they start printing money and devaluing the currency for whatever emergency reason that happens, which will likely be internal conflict, I definitely think that internal conflict might cause some issues in the United States. And when this happens, they will likely print more money. And I already see it happening with Elon Musk buying Twitter. Like, do you not see Democrats versus Republicans? They are getting heated, right? It's like this social fight on Twitter that's happening right now with Elon Musk. They're becoming separate. They're becoming more conflicted. And as they become more conflicted, there's a very high chance of internal conflict or some type of revolutionary pivot in the United States. If that happens, it will destroy supply chains and jobs way worse. If that happens, they will have to stimulate the economy again. If that happens, the US dollar currency index, they just finessed everybody in the world to jump into USD. They literally just finessed everybody. It's like, oh, hawkish Fed policy. Everybody come into USD. Everybody come into USD. And then as America has more issues, then they're like, okay, let's save America. Boom, print more money, stimulus. Print more money, stimulus, save America. Everybody else gets destroyed with inflation. This comes right back down. Bitcoin serves its purpose. Bitcoin goes parabolic. That's what I see right now. There's just so much tugging and pulling in the economy. It's not as elastic as we think. One big event that happened in 2020 with the mask, I don't want to say the name, this big event like destroyed everything. If you guys have not noticed, it destroyed every projection for financials. So if there is another big event, whether it's internal, external, war, revolution, whatever it is, there even could be like similar to what we saw in Canada with truckers protesting. If that happens in America and people start protesting to a significant way or whatever and start messing things up in the economy, GG's. They will have to stimulate the economy again to save it from catastrophic events. And if they do that, then the other sides of the world will suffer. Now, this is showing it from a technical analysis perspective. Plan C, very good dude. Definitely follow him on Twitter. Also, follow me on Twitter. I'm doing a massive giveaway. I'm doing coin calls, and I want to take Twitter way more serious. We're getting a lot of engagement, a lot of people. I'm going to be putting out threads on Twitter and taking it more serious. So definitely follow me on Alex on Crypto on Twitter. It's censorship free now because Elon Musk is the man. But as you can see here, US dollar currency index, or the DXY, okay, has broken this RSI and the Bollinger Bands. So in both cases, it's supposed to bring it back down to earth. There will be a period where DXY will come down. So both of them have been broken, the Bollinger Bands and the RSI. So you see the RSI is kind of overbought. Bollinger Bands overbought. It will come back down to reality. If that happens, then Bitcoin will likely move. Now, the total looks even better than Bitcoin. Like we talked about higher lows and higher highs, but the total looks even way better. Like look at this. This is like significant higher lows, guys. Like I don't know how much you want to, from what way you want to look at this, but crypto, if you look at it, it looks pretty good. It's just the only people that are kind of bearish are just bearish in macro in general. Now, a couple of other news I thought was interesting. Edward Snowden is coming out as a person that helped with Zcash. You could see, there's just needs for these things, right? Like if you don't know who Edward Snowden is, I don't care what you think about him. He did expose a lot of lies in the U.S. government. So him taking action on Zcash and stuff like that, like it just clearly shows that if you want to really change the world, like it's like crypto is the only solution. If you really want to change it, he's done pretty much everything you possibly can besides crypto, and it changed the world. He did do a lot of damage, but like you could clearly see that like if you want to do long-term growth, crypto is the answer. So privacy coin Zcash, I thought that was interesting. BlackRock, which supposedly controls the world, launches its first crypto exposed ETF with sizable Coinbase allocation. So The biggest companies on earth are still moving in. Art Kathy Wood says, you know, the fact that Bitcoin doesn't have a spot ETF yet doesn't make sense. We do have other types of ETFs, but the one for some reason they keep holding back is a spot ETF. So spot, the difference between spot and futures is that spot actually takes Bitcoin off the market. So this will supply shock the heck out of Bitcoin more than it already is with on-chain. As you can see, you know, we kind of talked about on-chain a little bit. The supply shock is a real thing. Supply shock is a real thing, and they don't want the spot ETF to come because, you know, it will heighten the effect of that supply shock. So, you know, that's really interesting. Now, we also see Cuba approving cryptocurrency services. Like I said, you know, towards the beginning, we have countries moving in. Panama has officially passed a bill to give legal status to Bitcoin. So it's so funny. You know, America, they really think they can control everything by using hawkish Fed policy and coming in with these, you know, decrease in spending, and everybody's fleeting to USD and they're finessing the world. But when they do that, I've told you guys in the last video, when they come in with this hawkish Fed policy, other countries suffer. They suffer. And when they suffer, okay, and their economies suck, they are forced to adopt crypto. So it's like this big game that they're playing. So like if the DXY, or if they come in with dovish Fed policy and if they stimulate the economy, the price of Bitcoin goes up. If they bring back spending, Bitcoin gets adopted in more areas. It's like no matter what decision they make, Bitcoin's the answer. That's what I keep trying to explain to people. Now, let's talk about this massive firm called Fidelity. Now, it's interesting because if you probably ask your parents, even though they know nothing about crypto or probably nothing about finance, I'm sure they've heard of Fidelity because of their retirement. This is one of the largest asset managers in the world with $4.5 trillion in assets under management as of December 2021. Now, they're making some big adjustments. They're hiring 12,000 new people in the cryptocurrency space because they're coming out for retirement plans in Bitcoin. The company says it's creating 12,000 new jobs. Nearly 70% will be customer facing by the end of September. And that would put Fidelity on track to meet or potentially exceed 2021 hiring levels. So they're hiring at an aggressive rate. And it's because they came out with this 401k customers adding Bitcoin to their retirement accounts. I'm gonna tell you right now, if they really do this, and you know, it's an actual feature, if you really don't think I'm gonna take my parents' retirement account and put it in Bitcoin, you're crazy. But yeah, I mean, tax-free Bitcoin is what I like to see. To be honest, this is a massive move for $1 trillion asset under management firm. Like, think about these moves, right? Think about these moves, right? They're still hiring. Even though the price has been going down, these companies are taking advantage. You don't want to come into Bitcoin and crypto when all the hype is here. When the hype is left, that is when you want to move. And you could clearly see big corporations are making massive moves to a point where the US Labor Department have grave concerns about the decision to offer Bitcoin as an investment option, and they're scheduled to meet. So yeah, banks are scared. No matter what move the Federal Reserve makes, it looks like Bitcoin benefits, whether it's adoption or price increase. Bitcoin benefits, hawkish or dovish Fed policy. $1 trillion asset firms and big businesses are moving in on crypto, and they haven't stopped even through this price decrease. And all these NFTs are being launched from the NBA. And I just don't understand why people can't look at it from this perspective. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you guys think I'm biased? Do you think that I'm just kind of drinking the Bitcoin Kool-Aid or whatever the case is? And maybe you are too, but maybe this is the right thing to drink. I don't know. Like what other Kool-Aid is there, right? Like what are we going to buy now, right? And that's the point I keep trying to explain to everybody. You know, I'm looking for a really good investment. It just seems like Bitcoin and cryptos are the best investment. That's it for this video. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism, subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it, you will get left behind. Thanks for watching this, guys. Catch you in the next one.